Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Natalia Virvardhana. First, it's time for us to take a look at the headlines for tonight.
Suresh Salai interrogated in detention for 72 hours. Appeal court quashes 2 avant-garde petitions. Another shooter in Akuregoda incident taken into custody. Stern steps regarding the security of informants, says Minister Anand Vijaypala. 60th anniversary of the World Buddhist Sangha Conference to be held in Sri Lanka. Housing aid for 10,747 low-income families. Indian Premier on a visit to Israel.
Now in your top story tonight, former Director of the State Intelligence Service, retired Major General Tuan Suresh Salai, was taken into custody today on facts revealed during investigations regarding the Easter Sunday attacks.
The police stated during a media briefing held today that he has been directed to the Criminal Investigation Department for interrogation during detention for 3 days. He has been taken into custody under the temporary provisions of the Prevention of Terrorism Act. Police media spokesman, Assistant Superintendent of Police F.U. Wootler, stated that former State Intelligence Service Director Major General Tuan Suresh Salai had been arrested. He said the arrest was made based on clear evidence that had emerged parallel to the findings of ongoing investigations into the Easter attacks. He added that the suspect had been taken into custody and would be produced for further investigation by the Criminal Investigation Department. He further noted that the public and the media would be informed in due course about steps taken by investigating officers. DIG Jalya Senaratne said the arrest had been carried out on sufficient grounds. He stated that the specific charges would be disclosed after investigations were conducted. He added that as the investigations were currently underway, adequate time was required to proceed with them. He further said the suspect had been arrested under the temporary provisions of the Prevention of Terrorism Act and explained that under the law, a suspect arrested under these provisions could be detained for 3 days on the order of a police officer. He noted that if further detention was required based on evidence that emerged during that period, steps would be taken to obtain a detention order in accordance with legal provisions, depending on the findings within the 3-day time frame. Senior DIG in charge of Western Province Sajeeva Medavatta stated that the arrest was made due to evidence indicating a connection to the Easter attacks. He said it would be determined in due course the exact reason for proceeding against him. He pointed out that the individual arrested was not an ordinary citizen but the head of the Intelligence Division and that the arrest had been made as a result of ongoing investigations. He added that more time was needed as the arrest had taken place this morning. He emphasized that the matter is still under investigation and that regardless of how many individuals were arrested, each would be treated as a suspect pending further inquiry. He said that further investigations based on questioning would determine whether the suspect was the mastermind or whether others were involved. He stressed that it was not possible to conclude within a few hours of the arrest that he was the mastermind, adding that although there was evidence of some connection, any final determination would depend on the outcome of continued investigations.
Now, the appeal court today quashed 2 writ petitions filed requesting an issue of writ order to nullify an order issued by the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence demanding withdrawal of armories of avant-garde from the Navy camps. The petitioners had stated that the Defence Secretary had issued a letter dated 28th of last August informing to withdraw their armories maintained in Sri Lanka Navy camps in Colombo, Galle and Trincomalee. The petitioners had pointed out that issuing such order arbitrarily without providing alternative places is detrimental to the law. Appearing for the respondents, including the Defence Secretary, Additional Solicitor General stated that these petitions cannot be maintained before the law. He had posted preliminary objections to quash these petitions without considering. Additional Solicitor General further said that since the Defence Secretary has issued this order last August, it cannot be approved to request relief in this manner from the courts at the last moment. Accordingly, the decision was taken by the Sri Lankan Navy against the petitioner to not contrary to the law. Considering matters presented by both parties, the panel of appeal court judges said that since there is no reasonable legal base to consider the petition, it will be nullified. The Colombo High Court today ordered the acquittal of Daisy Forrest, grandmother of Yoshitha Rajapaksa, in a case filed under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The order was issued after Deputy Solicitor General informed the court that charges would be maintained only against Yoshitha Rajapaksa. Deputy Solicitor General Janaka Bandara today presented to the court the special mental health report where the defendant Daisy Forrest is a suitable mental condition to stand a trial. He stated that doctors have recommended that the defendant is not in suitable mental condition to stand trial. Considering the matters, the judge ordered acquittal of the defendant from the indictments against her.
Meanwhile, another gunman allegedly connected with the Akuregoda double murder has been taken into custody yesterday. Munragala police arrested the suspect in a special search operation conducted at Temwat area in Nakkala. Accordingly, the suspect has been detained for further questioning. Investigations are underway to confirm whether the suspect is the second shooter connected to the Akuregoda incident. Police have also searched the house where the suspect had temporarily taken refuge. The suspect had fled the area after committing the murder of a lawyer and his wife in their motor car at Akuregoda area on the 13th of this month. According to the information revealed by the investigations, one of the shooters was taken into custody at Ambalangoda area on the 21st of this month. It was reported that the suspect is the person who shot at the victims by a T-56 weapon. The suspect has also been identified as an army deserter. Another 3 suspects have been arrested by the police under the charges of obtaining the murder.
Minister Anand Vijaypala says that stern steps will be taken regarding the security of informants. He made this observation joining the occasion of the commencement of the construction work of the new building of the Mirigama police station. A sum of 80 million rupees will be spent on this project, which is being implemented with the objective of raising the productivity and improving infrastructure facilities of the police station. Minister Anand Vijaypala says that there had been a continuous and direct link between the underworld and the politics in Sri Lanka over the years. He said the connection had existed for a long time, but that at the present administration had now empowered the police officers to carry out underworld suppression operations freely, independently and without political interference. Referring to the recent murder of a lawyer that caused public outcry, the minister said one of the shooters had already been arrested and that a sharp and efficient investigation was underway. He added that the police were currently working actively on the matter. He further assured that individuals providing information to authorities would not be threatened, noting that all necessary measures were being taken to ensure their protection. Minister Vijaypala emphasized that underworld activities and the drug trade had grown under political patronage. He claimed that certain politicians had fostered organized crime and used the underworld to maintain governing power. He also alleged that drug money and underworld networks had been used by some political parties to organize rallies and other activities. He said that political connections were now being removed step by step and that the police were working on bringing the situation under control. According to the minister, drug traffickers and organized crime operated as part of the same networks, and many murders stemmed from internal disputes within the drug trade. While stressing that the government did not condone any murder regardless of the victim, he said that efforts were underway to prevent every such incident. He acknowledged that many underworld groups were operating from abroad, contributing to ongoing violence, but assured that immediate steps were being taken to control the situation. The 60th anniversary celebration of the World Buddhist Bhikkhu Congress is scheduled to be held in Sri Lanka from the 28th November to the 2nd of December this year.
A special discussion regarding the organizing activities of this event was held at the President's office today. The discussion was held under the patronage of President Akuregoda Dissanayaka. In line with the 60th anniversary celebration of the World Buddhist Bhikkhu Congress, the second executive committee session of the 11th General Assembly of the World Buddhist Congress also scheduled to be held, and local and foreign Buddhist monks and lay representatives will also take part in this celebration. The President instructed the officials to appoint a joint committee headed by the Minister of Buddha Shasana to provide state patronage for this event. The organizing committee pointed out that it is significant that the International Buddhist Organization, which was initiated in Sri Lanka in 1966, will hold its 60th anniversary in the same country. About 600 dignitaries from 50 countries, representing all Buddhist traditions including Theravada, Mahayana and Vajrayana, will take part in this event. About 500 Buddhist monks of Sri Lanka, including the Mahanayaka Theras of three main Nikayas, will also take part in this Buddhist conference. It is expected to invite the heads of Buddhist state, including the King of Bhutan. The opening ceremony will be held on the 28th of November at Nagananda Buddhist University in Colombo. The executive committee meeting and academic seminars will be held on the 29th of November. A special puja will be conducted at the Jayasri Mahabodhi premises in Anuradhapura on the 30th of November. Religious observances have been organized on the 1st of December, centering the Ruwanvali Mahasaya and historic Temple of the Tooth in Kandy. The President pointed out the importance of organizing this event at national level and stressed that the government will extend its fullest support for this purpose.
The program to provide housing aid to 10,747 low-income families island-wide commenced on a district basis today under the program A Place of One's Own, A Beautiful Life. Distribution of monetary aid checks to 127 recipients of Putlam district under the National Housing Program was conducted at Sudampai Theatre, Anamaduwa today. A sum of 1 million rupees will be given for a house. Under the first stage, a sum of 150,000 rupees was awarded today. Minister Professor Chandana Beratna and a group of others attended the occasion. Housing aid was presented to 117 recipient families in Kalutara district under the National Housing Program today, led by Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayathisa at the Kalutara district secretariat. Minister Sunil Handurneti says plans are afoot to construct 395 new housing units in Batiklo district. He made the statement joining the occasion of the awarding of aid in Batiklo district under the National Housing Program. Monetary checks were given to 106 recipients of the district on this occasion. Ratnapura district program of the Housing Aid Program under the theme A Place of One's Own, A Beautiful Life was held at Sabaragamu Provincial Council Auditorium under the guidance of Minister Dr. Hiniduma Sunil Senevi and Governor Champa Janaki Rajaratna. A total of 519 housing units will be constructed in the district. Deputy Minister T.B. Sarat says 57,000 housing units will be constructed within this year and will be handed over to the families without houses and with less facilities. He made this observation joining the function of monetary aid distribution in Polonnaru district under the A Place of One's Own, A Beautiful Life program. Aid was distributed among 150 recipient families in Polonnaru district. Under the same program in the Ampara district, it was conducted at the Ampara Divisional Secretariat Office under the leadership of Deputy Minister Vasantha Pethis. 430 new housing units are to be constructed in the district at a cost of 430 million rupees. A program is being implemented by the National Housing Development Authority. The minister conducted the foundation laying of the new housing unit in the Buddangala in Ampara. Distribution of housing aid checks to build a new house was conducted at the Hambantota District National Housing Development Authority office for 105 low-income earners. It was led by Chairman of the Hambantota District Coordination Committee, Nihal Galapati.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that increasing energy efficiency is an essential factor in strengthening country's economy. It is not merely a limitation of consumption, but significant contribution for the country's development process. She made these remarks joining the Sri Lanka National Power and Energy Efficiency Awarding Ceremony held in the BMICH in Colombo yesterday. The event has been jointly organized by the Sustainable Energy Authority and the Ministry of Power and Energy. It was held under the theme of revitalizing economy through energy efficiency. The Prime Minister stated that foreign exchange can be saved through minimizing waste of energy. This will also help to stabilize national economy. She further said that the public and private sector institutions that consumed power and energy at high efficiency during the past year should be specially commended. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya stated that the 2015 Paris Agreement is recorded as a significant milestone in global efforts to combat climate change. She noted that the agreement places a strong emphasis on development of renewable energy and the improvement of energy efficiency. Highlighting Sri Lanka's potential to gain substantial economic benefits from growth in these sectors, the Prime Minister said that energy efficiency holds a unique and important place alongside renewable energy in the country's future plans focused on energy sustainability and energy security.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that the volume Reimagining International Relations from a Global South perspective offers a timely and rigorous contribution, providing key insights into policy, diplomacy and global governance. Now, she made these remarks while participating in the latest publication of the Bandaranaike Centre for International Studies titled Reimagining International Relations from a Global South, held yesterday at BCIS Auditorium.
Authored by the Emeritus Professor Kamini Keeravela, former Senior Professor of History at the University of Peradeniya and a member of the BCIS Council of Management and Academic Affairs Board, the book Reimagining International Relations from a Global South Perspective offers a compelling re-examination of international relations through a distinctly Global South perspective. Congratulating on the publication, the Prime Minister stated that the publication represents a timely and important intervention in understanding how the Global South international relations and international policy has evolved and traces the many different pathways. She further noted that this volume invites to reimagine international relations as a genuinely plural, and it doesn't necessarily go only for the discipline of international relations. That is something that applies to all disciplines. The occasion was attended by Chairperson of BCIS, former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, Deputy Minister of Mass Media Dr. Kaushalya Ariratna, members of the diplomatic community, representatives of the Bandaranaike National Memorial Foundation Board Management, members of the BCIS governing bodies, and invited scholars and practitioners.
I think this is a timely intervention because this is not something that is limited to the field of international relations, but all of us pursuing these academic disciplines understand how knowledge has been constructed, how knowledge has been positioned in certain ways within this context. This understanding of the way in which knowledge is produced and the power inequality that lies at the base of the way in which particular types of knowledge is given precedence or not, or dominant, is something that goes far back as the 1970s with Edward Said's path-breaking work, Orientalism, where he showed how dominant understandings, particularly of our part of the world, shaped the way in which we ourselves understood how we understood our societies and our context.
A group of Japanese university students developed a rural road at Susirigama village in Valikanda by concreting with their own expense and labour contribution. It was telecast in Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation News recently. The group of Japanese students completed their development project and vested it with the public of the village. Then they left for Japan today after 14 days stay in Sri Lanka amidst warm hospitality of the villagers in Susirigama. They started concreting 50-meter stretch of the road on the 15th of this month. The project was initiated as a concept of Venerable Valasweve Chandraratana Thero with the sponsorship of Good Institute in Japan. 15 Japanese university students completed this project by staying at the residence of villagers there. A special farewell ceremony has been organized at the Sri Sudarshana Ramya temple in Susirigama to mark their departure. Many cultural events were also performed at this ceremony.
The Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employees, Arun Hemachandra, met the officials of the Korean Human Resource Development Institute in Seoul yesterday. Vice Chairman of the Foreign and Global Employment of the Institute, Vice Chairman Lim Seung-muk, and several others were present at this meeting. Both parties focused attention on further strengthening Sri Lanka-Korea employment partnership under the employment permit system. They also held discussions on enhancing Sri Lanka's participation in Korean employment permit system. Special attention was focused to expanding innovative cooperation beyond the existing limits. They held further discussion on the amount of Korean employment quota for Sri Lankans, problems of waiting lists, transparency of job system and increasing efficiency. The Deputy Minister stated that matters of strengthening Korean language efficiency and enhancing discipline in service places and increasing technical training and orientation prior to departure for employment were also discussed. The Deputy Minister informed the Korean officials regarding the need of establishing institutional partnership for skill development, strengthening the security of Sri Lankan workers and enhancing vocational standards. The Deputy Minister stressed that Sri Lanka is committed to build trustworthy and professional workforce.
As a continuation of Indian Navy's endeavour to build bridges of friendship, sail training ship INS Tarangini of the Indian Navy is visiting Trincomalee from 27th February to 2nd March 2026 and Colombo from 6th to 9th of March 2026 to provide ocean sailing training and experience to Sri Lanka Navy training officers during harbour phase and sea phase. The ship, commanded by Commander Nitin Gajer, is on return passage from Visakhapatnam after taking part in International Fleet Review 2026. Commanded by Commander Nitin Gajar, the ship is returning from International Fleet Review 2026 held in Visakhapatnam. INS Tarangini, a 3-mast back and the first sail training ship of the Indian Navy, was designed by Colin Modi and built at GOA Shipyard Limited. The 54-meter vessel displaces around 500 tons and carries 20 sails. She is part of the first training squadron based in Kochi and trains officer cadets of the Indian Navy and Indian Coast Guard. The ship made history in 2004 by becoming the first Indian naval vessel to circumvent the globe. During the Trincomalee port call, 3 officers and 25 Sri Lanka Navy training officers will embark for sea training to Colombo.
Portugal Foreign Minister Paulo Rangel has agreed to establish a joint committee to conduct a preliminary study to return items of historical value in Portugal to Sri Lanka. Now, this decision has been taken during an official discussion held with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath, at the ministry today. Agreeing with the proposal made by Minister Vijitha Herath to return items of historic value to Sri Lanka, which were taken during the Portuguese rule, pointed out it as an acceptable proposal and agreed to establish a joint committee to conduct a preliminary study in this regard. The foreign ministers paid attention to commence discussions in this regard, empowering a cultural agreement signed between Portugal and Sri Lanka. Minister Vijitha Herath also proposed to set a mechanism to avoid inconveniences faced by Sri Lankans in visiting New Delhi to get a visa to travel to Portugal. The Portugal Foreign Minister promised to look into this matter. The minister also discussed improving cultural and human relations, taking into consideration the historic link of the two countries. They have also agreed further improve relations in investments, trade and tourism, including renewable energy. Both mechanisms will be improved and improving relations. Now, in more local news, the launch of the Knuckles Valley showroom of the Knuckles Valley Plantation Private Company was held today at the Cinnamon Life Hotel in Colombo.
The showroom was opened under the patronage of the Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Matthew Duckworth. Advisor to the Knuckles Valley Plantation Private Company, Nihal Chandasree, estate manager Dilashali Range, and members of the staff were present at the occasion. Mainly the products of cinnamon manufactured in estates of the company and other value-added products of tea, rubber, spices and numerous raw materials are exported to many countries. This will help to increase the flow of foreign exchange to Sri Lanka and employment opportunities. The target of the company is to expand the production network centering foreign market.
Australia and Sri Lanka work better when we collaborate together, and this is a great example of that. It's these sorts of collaborations that offer so much for the future for both of us. You have a launch pad to the regional tourism market, you have a launch pad for export around the region, and of course with real prospects for taking these amazing products increasingly into the Australian market. This is not just a case of Australia selling goods into Sri Lanka or Sri Lanka selling goods into Australia. It's a real mix. It's a combination of that investment in both directions, trade in both directions that creates a business like this. But again, of course, the real excitement is in seeing a great collaboration between Australia and Sri Lanka, producing a great range of products for both of our markets, and with real opportunity to continue to grow jobs, to grow revenue for this country, and to create opportunity for all of us.
Russian ambassador in Sri Lanka, Levanes Zagarian, met President Secretary Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumar Nayaka at the President's office this morning. They held discussions on further strengthening the bilateral relations between the two states and several other matters common to both countries. In addition, they focused attention on the cooperation of main sectors including tourism, trade and technology. Head of the political sector of the Russian Embassy to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, German Fedorov, and the President's Senior Additional Secretary Roshan Gamage were also present at this occasion.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijita Herath is scheduled to visit Germany in order to participate in a series of meetings pertaining to trade and foreign employment from 26th to 27th of February. He will be visiting Germany as per the invitation extended by Bremen branch of German Asia Pacific Business Association. The minister will be participating in the function to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the Bremen branch of German Asia Pacific Business Association and will also deliver the keynote address as an invited chief guest. German Foreign Minister Dr. Johann Wadefuhl will deliver the main address at the function. Bremen branch of German Asia Pacific Business Association is the largest German association to promote German-Asian business relations. It also connects the German business leaders of Asia Pacific region with policymakers. During the visit, the Sri Lankan minister will also discuss with German foreign minister and also due to participate in a roundtable discussion related to business with Sri Lanka.
Two groups of Sri Lankan journalists and media professionals successfully completed a week-long specialized training program on media management at the DRMCR Human Resource Development Institute in Telangana, Hyderabad, India. And the first batch of 30 participants attended the program from the 26th to the 31st of January 2026, and the second batch of 30 participants from the 16th to the 21st of February 2026. Both programs focused on strengthening professional competencies and equipping participants with advanced skills across print, electronic, digital and social media within an evolving global media landscape organized by the Government of India, and the programs aimed to familiarize participants with the latest developments in media technology, newsroom transformation, governance, communication and ethical journalism. The participants included representatives from most of the major media institutions in Sri Lanka across print, broadcast and digital media. It is highly recognized as a premier training institution dedicated to leadership development, governance training and professional excellence, with a strong reputation for addressing contemporary communication challenges and emerging technologies, trends shaping both public discourse. Now, the programs were widely regarded as timely, relevant and transformative, equipping media professionals to respond effectively to digital transformation, AI integration and crisis communication in today's fast evolving information ecosystem. Showers or thunder showers are expected at several locations in the southern province and in the Ratnapura and Monragala districts after 2 p.m. today, while mainly fair weather will prevail across the rest of the island. Meanwhile, misty conditions are likely in parts of the central, Sabaragamuwa, western and northwestern provinces, as well as the Anuradhapura, Galle, Matra, Monragala, Mana and Vaunia districts during the early morning hours.
The Colombo Stock Exchange ended today is trading positively. The all-share price index closed at 23,703.10 after rising by 12.48 points, which represents at a 0.05% change. The S&P Sri Lanka 20 index closed at 6,685.27, up by 4.15 points and 0.06%. Total market capitalization at the close of trading stood at 8.401 trillion rupees. Market turnover for the day amounted to 4.021 billion rupees, with 133.16 million shares traded. We are moving to foreign news right after this break. Welcome back, and we are with foreign news. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Israel for a two-day visit.
This marks the first time the Indian Prime Minister has visited the country since the war in the Gaza Strip began. The Indian Prime Minister is also scheduled to address the Knesset, Israel's parliament. Foreign media reports that he is due to hold discussion with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog. It is stated that no meetings with Palestinian leaders have been scheduled during the Prime Minister's visit. Indian media report that the purpose of the visit is to further strengthen bilateral ties in the fields of defense, technology and trade. The Indian Prime Minister's first visit to Israel took place in 2017. It was the first time an Indian premier had visited Israel. That visit is considered a turning point in strengthening close relations with Israel. India is among the countries that purchase weapons from Israel on a large scale. Foreign media reports that during his more than decade-long tenure, the Indian Prime Minister has been able to significantly develop relations with Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated that the Indian Prime Minister's visit is a historic occasion.
Welcome back, and we are with sports news. The crucial Super 8 round match of the T20 World Cup cricket tournament between Sri Lanka and New Zealand is now in progress at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium in Colombo. Chasing a victory target of 169 runs, Sri Lanka were 27 runs for the loss of 2 wickets in 8 overs. Winning the toss, Sri Lanka opted to field first. Accordingly, batting first, New Zealand put up a total of 168 runs for 7 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. Michelle Satner top scored with 47 runs, while Rachin Ravindra with 32 and Cole McConchie with 31 runs not out made valuable contributions to the total. In bowling, Mahesh Dikshan and Dushmantha Chameera claimed 3 wickets each. Dunit Vellalage claimed the wicket of Daryl Mitchell.
Good shot.
Quite a tentative start by the Sri Lankans, don't you think? Well, let's hope for the best. And that was a look at the news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I've been Siobhan Pereira together with Natalia Veerawardena. Wish you a pleasant evening and a wonderful week ahead.
Good night.